and we'd like to open the December 2nd Reuben Library Trustees Board meeting. This meeting is being held virtually through Zoom. The town of Littleton began conducting remote participation Zoom meetings. One moment. Pursuant to the Governor Baker's emergency order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law on March 19th, 2020. Since that time, unanticipated legal concerns relating to the open meeting law have been brought to our attention by the town clerk. Those concerns were supported by the Attorney General's office and confirmed by town council. One concern is that the chat function allows a parallel text conversation to a board's public meeting. Chat is essentially running commentary that is occurring but is not moderated or followed by the chair. All participants and listeners may not be aware of comments being made because some meeting participants join by phone and do not see these conversations. Another concern is that conversations between residents within the chat room, which are not incorporated into the public record. In response to these concerns, the town will implement the following changes, which in no way prohibit any member of the public from participating in discussion and sharing information during a public meeting, and will ensure that all listeners and participants have equal access to this meeting. People that join the Zoom meeting are set so their microphones are muted. If you call in by phone, please use *6 to mute or unmute your phone. So that the meeting can occur in an orderly fashion, we ask the people who join keep their microphones on mute so background noises do not interfere with the meeting. If you wish to participate in the meeting, please use the raise your hand function available on Zoom, or if you called in by phone, dial *9, which will activate the raise your hand function. The meeting host will notify the chairperson of the raised hands, and the chairperson will determine whether and when to allow public comment. When called upon, participants should unmute, then state their name and address. After speaking, we request the participant return their microphone back to mute. That's it. I have to go quiet the dog for a moment.
You're muted, Mark.
Sorry about that.
One would think with the number of meetings I do, I would notice that anymore. So we do have public participation because I invited Sean, the new town treasurer, to our meeting to give us to introduce himself and give us a little bit of what he's expecting from us, and we can give him a little bit of what we're expecting from him, and just say hi and get to know him a little bit. So,
is anybody taking minutes? Is somebody taking minutes?
Oh, we're missing Chris too. So
yeah. Is Chris coming or no? I guess.
As far as I know.
Okay.
Can someone take minutes?
I can do that.
Thank you. That's one job that I'm incapable of doing. So go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, I struggle with minutes as well. So
I cannot participate and take minutes. So you have one or the other.
It's very hard. So hi, everyone. I'm Sean O'Brien. I just started with the town about a month ago. So it's really exciting. A lot going on. So I've been working with Steve Venuti in terms of kind of learning all the ins and outs. So prior to joining Littleton, I worked as the assistant finance director in Natick for 3 years. And then before that, I started my career in Concord for 4 to 5 years there. So it's exciting. So I'm eager to help out. And if there's anything you need, definitely feel free to let me know. And I'll try to get everyone the information as soon as it comes in, so that you can have what you need, and feel free to reach out anytime.
Thank you.
The trustees typically pay for some expenses out of trust funds, we typically have either around this meeting or our next meeting, we typically vote which funds to move those out of. And then we'll send you a note, or David will usually contact you and send you that. So we also have some funds that are in. So within the BART report, we have funds broken into 4 different categories, basically based on how we're allowed to spend them. We're likely to shortly move some of the funds from the building. There's a building fund there that has been our stock donations people have made to the building fund that we will move at your discretion over into the MMDT account. It's a matter of how confident you are in the market at a given time and how much we keep there versus in MMDT. And we are working out, making sure that the stock donation path still works. We're expecting a few more stock donations coming in this year. So, does anyone have any specific questions or?
No.
The other thing we have to, the other up in the air thing that we're working on with Steve and Cheryl is the trustees were funding part of the building project potentially out of trust funds. So we don't know exactly what that number is at the moment. We said up to $400,000. We had a meeting the other day looking at the budget. We don't think it will end up being that much money. It looks like we're coming in under that amount at the moment. So here's hoping. So we need to work with you to figure out when we're moving what money into the appropriate accounts. So if you can just give us a heads up on when you want to move the money. I think you have the authorization. I think we voted the authorization for you to do it, but we probably want to give some direction on where it's coming from and things like that.
Definitely, yeah.
And I don't know if you had an anticipation on when any of that would be happening along the way of the building project from your finances.
So, yeah, so we just issued a $5.7 million ban to cover the construction costs. So we did that on the 20th of November. So that'll come due in a year. And I'm hoping between now and then we'll have the final estimates of the total construction costs and work on updating the payment plan sheet that I've looked over with Steve and just making sure that's in line with the borrowing piece as well as the donations piece and grant account as well.
I don't have, so we actually were going over the budget yesterday with PMBC and Vertex, the OPM, but I do not have a copy of that yet. When we get a copy of it, we'll forward it off to you.
Great.
But it's not, it's it's basically a spending against what we budgeted spreadsheet. So,
Okay.
we think we're, as I said, I think it looks like we're hoping to come in under, not have to spend the whole $400,000 the trustees allocated. As far as the fundraising, I think we're on track to hit the $1 million, though we won't have the full $1 million potentially by the time you want to bond, because we have pledges coming in. Looking at we have about $127,000 in outstanding pledges right now that we gave people 4 years to pay. So it's 2 years after this year, basically, that we're expecting that money to come in. So I don't know what that does for any of your calculations or, anything like that, but.
So Yeah, I think in talking with Steve, and I can confirm too, and tomorrow, I think the plan was to permanently finance the construction in May of 22, but I'll confirm that with him just to make sure when he comes in. So
Okay. So I don't, the only other comment or question I have is, if we're getting stock donations into the library, if you could just let us know so that we can send out the appropriate letters and credit the appropriate account, because they come in through a different channel and we don't see them unless someone says something. So just when typically Therese sends out a notice, and it would be good if we could just get a copy of it so that we can send a thank you as well and record it.
But I think that makes sense. This was actually my kind of first experience with stock donations to a municipality. So kind of like a little bit of a learning experience for me too, but interesting. And obviously we appreciate the support too. So it's a nice thing to have.
Did you have any questions or anything for us?
In terms of, monthly reports, I know I'd reached out and provided you, David, and Sam with some of the monthly statements. If there's things like that would be really helpful going forward, or if there's anything on my end that you wanted me to build into my schedule and calendar, it would just help me planning out so I can get you what you need on time. So we're all in a good spot.
Okay. The only thing I had was let's see. When Steve sent the reports, he didn't need to send. That was the first time that I actually saw one of those statements.
Okay.
Never saw one of those before, and it was interesting to see it. But if it's harder for you to send it, you don't need to. As far as I'm concerned, what Steve was sending us was the MMDT balance, the small one, and then the building account is what he was sending us. Okay, and then there was that other one that you sent us. It was the 2 million something. I forget what that was. I'm not on the right page here to be looking at it. But anyway, if you could send us the MMDT and the building, that'll be fine.
Okay. Perfect.
And the Bartholomew, whenever it comes in, which is always late.
Yeah, I think last month it came in a little after the first week. So so I'll send that as soon as I get that. Yeah,
usually if our meeting runs, by the calendar, if it runs later up to the 6th or 7th, a lot of times we'll get the current one. But most of the time, if we have the meeting early in the month, we just get it a week after that, and it's okay.
Okay, great.
Typically when we basically have the three accounts. We have the MMDT cash account, the building account, and the Bartholomew. And occasionally we will basically move money out of the trust funds into the MMDT account to pay our bills, right? Mm-hmm. So and we try to usually do that in a few $1,000 increments, right, rather than pennies here and there, because it's just Steve always told us to do a larger number for that, to the stock transfer. So if you have a feel for what those numbers should be or whatever, we usually do it in probably somewhere between $2,500 and $10,000 increments, depending on what we're spending. So or what we try to keep a couple $1,000 balance in that MMDT cash account for unexpected things.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Great.
Yeah, so I don't really have anything else specific for you. If you don't have anything, like I said, we're trying to track our donations, so keeping on top of whatever that MMDT building. My wife asked me like every other week, probably once a week, what the number in that MMDT account currently is, so that we can see how close we are to the goal, because everyone's getting tired of fundraising.
Oh yeah.
Right, Katrina? So.
Yes.
So. Okay. Well, thank you.
Great. Yeah. Thanks for that was
Thank you,
very,
Sean.
very helpful. Yeah. Appreciate it, guys.
Nice to meet you.
Likewise. Thanks. Bye, guys.
Okay. Bye. Thank
Have a
you.
good one.
Thanks.
Any correspondence, Sam?
No.
Minutes. Did-
I make a motion, we accept the minutes as written from, what was it, November 7th?
November 5th.
5th,
think.
as written.
My second.
Any further? Okay. So we'll go around for a vote. Katrina,
Yes.
Mira,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Demetra.
Yes.
You're off the bottom of my screen, Demetra. How do I make that just that much bigger? Okay. Yep. So the minutes are good. Treasurer's report. Did you have anything
Okay.
to add?
Well, did we get the numbers actually? No, I don't think we did. There was a correction, I guess, in midweek, but the library account, MMD, well, he calls it library account. I guess it would be the building, our library account. Yeah. $3,542.17 is what he sent us. Originally, he sent us for the building fund was $628,299.39, but that was later corrected to read $649,499.39 through November 20th. And he also sent something he calls library construction state funds, which is $2,346,443.89. I'm not exactly clear.
That's the money we've received so far from the state for the grant of 5 million, of the 5.8
Oh, okay.
million. We've gone.
Gotcha. Oh, okay. All right.
Can you repeat that number, please?
Which one?
The 2 million something?
$2,346,443.89.
Thank you.
Yep.
So that must be the first two payments.
Yes.
Okay. So for those keeping track, we received a fair amount of donations and pledges in the building fund last month. So it went up $30,000. We're making progress to our goal. So, Friends report.
Okay, so the Friends were discussing the auction at their last meeting. So and Katrina can probably talk more about this, but they did put up an auction of the trees made by the Girl Scouts. So that is raising money for the building fund. And there are a few other I know there's quilts and maybe some other things as well. And then a lot of books that were considered more valuable than the typical things that would sell at a book sale. So those things were added to the auction as well. So that is up for another week or so. I don't know.
To December 12th.
December 12th. Okay. And then they just discussed various other ideas for fundraising in the future. Giving Tuesday, doing something for that, which was yesterday. And I did see some posts on that. Just ideas, a possible story walk, maybe a nighttime thing, something in the future. And then they are continuing to discuss the museum passes, whether they will continue to fund them and to what amount based on how much the money they are bringing in and what is the status of museum passes as things go forward. So that was about it. I don't know if there's anything else.
Yeah, so I last month I presented the budget to you guys because of that conversation with the friends, whether or not they'd be able to support us as far as museum passes. I upped the amount I asked for materials from the town by about $10,000. It's only an increase of about 1%, really, when it comes down to it. So hopefully that will cover museum passes in case, so that the friends can focus more on programs and things of that nature in the future.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, fundraising.
Let's see. The pledge reminders went out and we're starting to receive those, which is great. Mark and I finished and sent the letters to some potential donors with room naming things, and Mark is killing it for bringing in some large donations, which is great. Totally beating me, and I'm okay with that. Let's see. We sent in the Emerson grant status report to close that out. That was from that grant from last year, so that's done. I haven't seen a new one come out, so I'm assuming they're just not doing that this year. And then the big thing that's taken up a lot of my time is the holiday trees and wreaths for the Reuben Hoare Library auction. You can see two of them behind me, and there's this cute one right here. This one's unlit. But there are 13 trees and wreaths donated. 10 Girl Scout troops decorated a tree or a wreath based on the theme of a book. And Chris Faulkner and my family also donated one, and Sarah Rombacher did as well. And they are up for auction. Timer went off. Okay. They're up. Oop. Tamitra. So the auction's going online this year because they can't have them up in the library. So it's at charityauction.bid/holiday trees, and it opened last Saturday after Thanksgiving, and it will close on December 12th at 8 p.m. So what we need now is to help spread the word for the auction and get eyes on it. So the auction is the 13 trees and wreaths that the Girl Scouts and others donated, as well as a beautiful quilt, lap quilt that's designed like a bookshelf. And I don't know how many books, but like Mira said, the kind of more unique books that would be hopefully gather more money than a typical book sale would get. So those are up for auction as well. And hopefully we'll have pickup day on the 13th, thanks to Sam letting us use the Cooper room for that day. That's the Sunday. So no one else will be in the library. And I can't think of anything else fundraising wise that we would need to cover.
So I'll give a slight, so it's kind of hard to give an exact number on where we are towards the progress to our goal because of how the pledges come in versus how they get accounted for when the money actually arrives. So, so when you don't have, so when someone gives a pledge, it gets counted, and then we wait for the money to appear in the MMDT account, and sometimes it takes a while, and sometimes we're never 100% certain that all the pledges get counted correctly. But with that new MMDT number, we're somewhere in the vicinity of probably about between $900,000 and $925,000 raised, or pledged so far, of which we have approximately pretty close to $800,000 in hand, and about 125 in outstanding pledges. So we're getting there.
We're getting there. Just need 100K more.
Yes.
Plus.
Yes. Also on, this, I don't know if this goes under fundraising or building project updates, but Judy Grandy and I had a meeting with Jamie Eldridge last Wednesday, talking about potential grant opportunities for solar panels on the library. So we're investigating if there's any source of funds from the state or federal government for that. We did find one potential grant that we could apply for in January that will pay a very large chunk of them, potentially, but sounds like a pretty competitive grant, and we wouldn't know whether we got it until like July. So we'd have to decide what we're doing with the solar panels. If we want them when the library opens, we'd have to decide before the grant came through, actually. I'm not sure the exact number on the cost for the solar panels, but I think it's in the $150,000 ballpark to put solar panels on the library. We are going to do, we're looking at doing whatever there is to make the solar panels easier if we decide to put them in later. For example, there was talk last week of like running all of the conduit and the wiring to the roof for the solar panels while the building is open, rather than trying to figure out how to do it later. So that wasn't actually part of the original cost. We're going to factor that in, see how much that actually costs, and we'll probably do that while the building's being built, regardless of whether we put the solar panels on day 1 or year 20. So everything will be there. We have a few more donor letters to mail out, but we've been getting a good response so far. So, building project.
Did we have one more grant, Sam? Was there one more grant we were going to go for?
Another grant? I'm not sure what you're.
So there was an MBLC grant.
MBLC grant. Sorry.
That we were going at, that Sam's going to apply for accessibility, or I'm not sure exactly how it was worded, but accessibility things within the library. So,
do you need help working on that?
Not right now. We don't have to start working on it until February.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if anyone has ideas on who else we should be approaching for money, or has contacts, let Katrina or I know, and we'll work on getting letters out and figure out how to approach them. We're still trying to work out approaching some of the businesses in town that we really haven't hit too much on the commercial side. So, building project updates. So they're making good progress. The steel work, I think, should be done around the 14th. And I think they're going to be pouring the second floor slab. So the concrete on the second floor will be going in roughly around then. We picked a color scheme for the exterior of the building, and the interior color scheme will be, I think we're supposed to decide that probably by around the end of the month. They're still on schedule for for the opening, and there have been no unexpected costs, so we're actually coming in slightly below what we originally budgeted, if things hold as they are right now. Am I missing anything, Sam?
Nope. Sounds about right.
Does anyone have any questions on the building?
So what color scheme went out?
The dark.
The dark.
Dark.
Okay, so we'll go around for trustee updates. Do you want to start, Demetra?
Nothing much except I'm participating in the holiday bid. So hopefully I'll get what I bid on. I'll see you in a few weeks. I saw your name pop up. Thank you.
Wow.
Who wants next?
All
Ready
right,
to go
me.
next, David?
Yeah, I got nothing. Just kind of, we skating day by day, just waiting for this all to be over and sort of getting ready for winter, getting the snow blower out and all that stuff and just trying to get ready, everything nailed down and try and relax.
Mira?
Let's see. So my daughter attended the 3rd grade book club last month, which she had a lot of fun at. So that went over really well, and she's excited to do the next one. We plan on taking a look at both of my girls' troops made trees for the auction. So we will take a look at that and bid on those. And we've just been doing a lot of reading because it's getting cold out, and that's all there is to do, or not all there is to do, but that's one of the things that we've been doing. And that's it.
Katrina?
So my son also participated in the 3rd grade book club and loved it, and he's looking forward to the next one. And I was picking up books and noticed the puzzle table that was out front with the take one, leave one table. So we grabbed a puzzle last week and it is now completed. So it was a good holiday weekend activity that we all just kept gravitating towards. I love the table idea. Unfortunately, ours had 4 missing pieces, so I don't know if you want those back. But we'll keep going back for that. And then Sam and I have been coordinating on reopening stuff and the COVID stuff, which we'll get into later. And other than the stacks of books hanging around my house, we do need to get back to the reader advisory to get some more ideas, I think, for my kids. But COVID's been taking most of my time.
Okay, so I've been busy with the fundraising. I've also took part in 3 different library trustee type programs that were offered. I went to the one that MVLC had about the accidental facilities manager, who basically their suggestion was basically that someone in the library should know how everything works so that they can turn the power on if they need to and things like that, in case George or someone isn't around. Their big thing was basically documenting how the systems work so that in a pinch people could do minor operations of things. I participated in a design program that actually I didn't get that much out of that one. I also went through there was a library journal. I had most of it at a conference with a bunch of different speakers talking about how to design libraries for the future and in the age of COVID. And there were some interesting ideas that came out of that. One one idea that they were pushing was for more like drive-up services to the library, which I don't, obviously we're not going to have, a drive-up window in the new building. But another thing they had was basically, I don't know exactly what they're called, but they're basically lockers, so that people can pick up their books whenever they want, basically, right? And you can do touchless or contactless checkout. So they could request a book. The staff could check it out, put it in locker X, tell them what the one-time combination is to get the books out of the locker, and then they can get them out at their convenience. So Sam actually said he talked to the architect about that idea before as well. So maybe all these things, kind of play together. I don't know exactly where we'd put it in the library or how it exactly would work, but it's an interesting concept. So, and I think I seem to be at the library all the time, or outside of the library quite a bit. My son's been taking a lot of drone footage as the project goes along, so you can, I think if you haven't seen it, I can share the link for those pictures too. So that's all I have. So we'll move on to director's report.
Okay. So LCTV filmed the topping off ceremony, and Mark Curry asked me to film a little intro to that. So that's up on LCTV right now. I submitted the final budget to the finance director, and as I mentioned before, I increased what we asked for in town materials by about $10,000 to $12,000, which only came out to about a difference of 1.16% or $8,284 over the previous fiscal year, or the current fiscal year's budget. The Researching Your Family History program on November 13th went very well. We had 20 participants with that. And on Friday, we have a joint program with COA, with author Ashton Applewhite. It's on ageism, and that's a joint program between the library and COA. And it's at 10:30 a.m. on Friday, December 4th. And if anyone's interested, they can contact COA about how to get a link for the Zoom link. As far as the financial report goes, we're doing pretty well. We're pretty much on track for the year. We're where we should be as far as payroll goes, and then what we spend on town materials and so on. And then the rest is just statistics. Any questions?
So I'm impressed that our circulation's still fairly high up there. I mean, we're down 40% from last year, but given that no one can come into the building, that's not bad, I don't think. Do we know how we're doing circulation-wise compared to the other libraries around? I mean, do we have an idea how everyone's doing for things like that, or?
No, everyone's pretty much about the same as far as from what I've heard.
Okay. And I notice you're falling way behind Andy on the notary numbers again.
You get killed this month.
Yeah, sort of other things going on.
37 computer appointments. Huh?
Andy cheats. She counts every page. I just count every person. So, yeah. Yep.
I think you guys need to standardize that definition.
I know.
Yours is the correct way.
Yeah.
Per person.
Do you have anything to add, Helen?
Unmute. What's new with the library? Tomorrow the tea kits all come out. We first time put our Zoom program, which will be Adventures in Tea, to coincide with our adult craft project, which you'll come and you'll pick up 3 different types of herbs, and then you'll blend them together. We're giving you tea bags, and you'll watch the video, the Zoom link with Judith Taylor, and you'll figure out how to make an immunity tea, a sleep tea, an invigorating tea. So it should be fun. And when you're done, you can either have it yourself or you have a little gift to, give away at Christmas. So already people are calling, and we don't have the kits ready till tomorrow, but we've had about 30 phone calls already for the kits. So that's exciting. And I guess other than reading the book and taking part in the ageism book discussion, I feel like it's age appropriate, that takes place on Friday. I think it'll be fun, and it's a good way for us to kind of meet with the new town council on aging people. So it gives us a chance to work with them.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Anything else in the director's report or to harass Helen? If not, we'll move on to the COVID update.
Okay,
Reopening
so after the last meeting, I went back and asked the staff what they thought, and based on what we all talked about at the last meeting, we decided to aim for a new opening date of Thursday, January 14th at 3 p.m. Some other major changes are appointments will be made online. Well, they'll still be made online, but we'll ask that patrons make them at least 12 hours ahead of time. Appointments will be for 1 hour increments on the hour. Patrons will be allowed to enter at any time, not just on the hour, but they'll only have that specific amount of time to utilize the library, unless there's other people not using the library. We'll only allow 6 patrons in at a time, and no one under the age of 18 will be allowed in the building, in the library. Only adults. Curbside pickup won't change. There's some question about whether or not we'll allow patrons to use the fax machines or the printers or the copy machines. What do you think, Katrina? That was one of the main questions I got from the staff, was whether or not
Ask him to use, what was that, Sam? What was that?
whether or not we should allow patrons to use the copy machines or the fax machines, or if staff should do it for them like we've been doing now.
Gotcha. Okay.
Touch does not seem to be the main route of transmission. You'd still want to clean them. So even if staff touches them, they should be cleaned.
Right.
And hand sanitizer and stuff around. You could keep a hand sanitizer right next to them if you wanted patrons to do their own.
Okay.
I mean, that's not the way this is spreading. So I'm less concerned about patrons touching those as long as somebody's cleaning.
So can we keep the copy machine and the fax machine far enough away from the circulation desk so that people can use them without being in the staff's air bubble?
I agree with that.
Yeah, the problem is outlets, but I'm sure there's a spot we can move them that's far enough away.
If you
We could probably move
can't,
them over. Yeah.
then staff should do it. But
Yeah. If we can move them somewhere else, that would be better.
can you put them over by some of the computers, like by the history room?
Maybe. Yeah, there's probably a spot there.
Make a little spot there.
Yeah, we could find.
I think there's also power back by the small meeting room. You might be able to move something back there if it's not too crowded.
Yeah. We also purchased the HEPA filters came in, and they've been spread out throughout the library. So that's working pretty well. And,
Great.
Yeah, so I shared this with the staff, and the only questions they really had were how late do we let patrons in, as far as, if they, before we had the 10-minute or no, or they can't come in. So do we allow patrons to come in at any time during that hour or not? I think the best idea is probably just to let them in at whenever, just because we don't want a jam at the door anyway.
Yeah, you don't want to line up, and if their appointment's over at the end of the hour anyway, they're going to be, they'll be incentivized to come early.
Other than that, the staff seemed okay with the new changes.
Okay. So they're feeling more comfortable now.
Yeah.
That's great.
Sam, how does the people on the computer, how does that relate to the total count in the building?
So it's the
Like,
same.
so if there's 6 on the computer, which is probably not going to happen,
Right.
how does that affect the people that are allowed to come through the door and the ones that have an appointment?
It's a
But
total
can't
of
get in
6 in
because-
the
Say again?
total. The 6 total includes the people on the computers. So 6 patrons in the building, whether they're on the computer or not.
Okay, so somebody calls up and, half a dozen people make an appointment for 1 o'clock. And, they're all set to come into the library to do their browsing and stuff. And then you get people who want to go on the computer around the same time. So how does that get handled? Just curious.
Then they will have to make the person who wants to make the appointment for it's first come, first serve. So whoever wants to make the appointment for the computer, if there's already 6 patrons browsing, they'll just have to choose another time to come in.
Okay.
If someone does not have online access to make an appointment, I'm assuming they can call the library
Yes.
and
Yes,
staff will help them
the staff
schedule.
has the ability to make the appointment
Okay.
through their staff computer.
That's good. How are you planning to tell everyone about this?
You mean the public? Same way we tell everything else. We might make something on LCTV. I guess that would be the biggest way to do it outside of online. And then just Facebook, constant contact, website, get it, the newspapers, if they publish it.
I don't guarantee the newspapers.
Yeah.
The one thing I do want you to keep pushing is the reader advisory and the curbside, and just making it clear that those things aren't going away, and that hopefully we can continue to push those services more than in-person services.
Definitely. David, you had something to say?
Does the high school or does the school system have ability to disseminate information? They used to have the high school kids used to have that news program they did every day, but that might not be, might not be existent right now in the period of Zoom. So is there any way that the school could be used to spread that information that we're going to open?
Other than letting Kelly Clenching know, I'm not sure.
They do have the principal newsletters that go to families every Friday. So you get it to Dorothy Malone and ask if they can put it in.
Okay.
Go. Okay.
So I just have two things. I think, are we going to move the self-checkout so that they're farther away from the circ desk to give outside of the staff's air bubble effectively?
Yeah, it's the same problem. It's it's the same problem. It's the outlets. They're iPads, but they need to be plugged in. So I can move them. It's just.
I was wondering about putting one down the stairs. There's an outlet down by the bulletin board. We could potentially put one down there.
Yeah, I do have an extra one that I can put down there if need be.
So it would be good if we can get them further away from the staff, if at all possible. My other question is, I don't see a plan for what's going on with the children's room. Are we telling people they're not allowed in there? Are we limiting it to a subset of the people in the building, or?
I think it's just no children are allowed in the parents and can go up there if they want.
Okay, but so if 6 people come into the building, we're theoretically allowing 6 of them into the children's room at a time, or are we restricting that to 1 or 2 of them in the children's room at a time?
Well, I mean, it would be 6 people on the main floor anyway. Like if they're not going to the children's room, I don't know.
I'm just asking. I don't know what the plan is on any of that, or if we needed to do anything on that. So
The capacity, thinking of the state's capacity reductions, I think it would, 7 people if you count a librarian and 6 adults should be okay.
okay.
Again, I think this is the stuff that I think as you guys start doing it, and if you actually have 6 people who sign up for the same block of time, you'll start seeing where the problem spots are, or the those pinch points. Like, we don't know those yet until you start doing it, and then you guys will problem solve as you go. Ideally, we won't have 6 who need to be in the children's room at the same time, especially with kids not being present.
Okay, and then my last question is, do you need help implementing this, like moving furniture and things like that around? And if so, when do you plan on doing that?
We actually already moved the furniture, so we're okay.
Okay,
I did some of it, and then the rest of the staff moved the bookcases and set up their little zones. So I think we're good. The only thing I would
okay,
have to set up are the self checkouts, but those are just iPads. It's not a problem.
And
okay,
the staff will continue to be able to distance when patrons are in, right? Everyone has can spread
Yeah.
out still.
Yeah, and I also bought more the town bought more plexiglass shields, so there are about 5 more of them that we can put up around the circ desk.
And do you have a notary area now?
We have ideas for that.
Okay.
is the veterans agent using the room now, or?
He does. He mostly works from home, but he is in there from time to time. But he's usually in there when we're on Tuesdays and Thursdays when we're not open to the public anyway. But he kind of just comes in when he wants, and he doesn't stay very long.
Okay,
I saw him there yesterday.
yeah, we should just, when we do open, we should just send him a notice saying what time we're open and ask him not to be there at the same time.
Yep.
Which I don't think is going to be, since you said there's really no overlap anyway, it's just more of a courtesy. Okay, does anyone else have any questions or comments on it?
How about a general, maybe Katrina could just bring us up to date on the condition of the state as far as, is it getting worse or better?
Statewide, we're definitely on the uphill climb rapidly. I don't know what today's was. Yesterday was like 2,800 cases
Today
reported.
was outrageously high.
My guess is we're having a bit of there's like a lot of testing before Thanksgiving and then very little testing during the holiday weekend. And we're probably having a rebound of catch-up testing. Happens every holiday. So we'll see in 2 weeks, we'll have a better idea of what's happening. Littleton had 27 cases reported last Friday, and today at the Board of Health, they'll be reporting there was 29 when Jim Gareffi did the sneak peek into the Maven system this morning. So thankfully that didn't double. So we had a little bit of blip, but my gut is from the state is that nothing's changing for a while. So we're in this mode until.
Okay. So we're not going to expect a bad spot because of all the travel and the holidays. You don't think we'll see that, or?
I think we will see that. I think we're just going to keep going up. It's just the nature of COVID and the fact that people were traveling and gathering. Although less people seem to be traveling and gathering, so hopefully not as badly as we might have been anticipated. The other thing, David, I was trying to get a feel for clusters and where exposures are happening. So I was looking at the report before this meeting, trying to get a feel for like the workplace kind of clusters, shopping and retail. Those things are not kind of coming up as big areas of events happening, cluster events happening. So I do continue to feel like the staff is probably more of a risk to each other just because they're around each other longer. If they're not distancing, wearing masks, doing everything they should be doing. So if everyone's doing the right things, we've got the HEPA filters, we can crack a window here and there just to air it out. Keep doing those things and it will hopefully protect the staff. But there's not really any retail or those kind of clusters that are showing up.
Okay. I don't know, I just get a kick when everybody says the staff is the danger to themselves, but they've been together for 4 or 5 months?
Yeah,
and
but
nobody's sick.
it's been low circulation. So it's really great that they haven't had a problem right now.
Right. So I guess they're not a danger to themselves.
They're not a danger to themselves if they're alone.
Yeah.
No, it's just with more circulation in the community, they're more likely that someone's going to pick something up. So hopefully everyone's just practicing good precautions.
Yeah.
And that will protect the workplace and home life and everyone.
All right. So if it gets worse, and let's just hope it doesn't, but if it gets worse, are we gonna be juggling the opening day, or is it just gonna stay set? Sam?
So the state, Sam, correct me if I'm wrong, but the library opening guidelines, we are way below the capacity, even with 6 people in the building and all the staff, of what our building is technically able to hold, even if you say not the Cooper room and just the rest of the building. So I do feel like this plan is conservative and small and a great place to start and see where we are. So we didn't say, let's bring in 50 people. We're starting little and appointments, and they're doing the contact tracing form and everything we can to protect everyone. Hand sanitizer, masks have to be worn. If no one's going to wear a mask, they have to wear a mask by the mask order. So if someone's refusing to, you can tell them they can't come in because of the mask order. So,
So I think the library should basically follow whatever the state guidelines are in the town, right? If the town decides the town hall is no longer open to public, then we revisit the library based on what the other town buildings and departments are doing and what the state regulation is. But if the state regulation doesn't change and the town doesn't change what they're doing, then I don't see that we should change our plan.
unless there's a known exposure or an event in the library that
Yeah.
forces us to rethink it. Hopefully there won't be. The other thing is the COA is starting to hold programs in the multipurpose room. So they're doing a similar, by appointment, spaced out, fewer people, like the same kind of concepts that we've put into this plan, so that they can have.
I spoke to Ashley today. She said that, well, at one of the particular programs, I think she said they had 3, but at one of the programs they had only 4 people. It was very low attendance.
I can understand it with that population, that age group.
Yeah. And we had a subcommittee, a housing subcommittee meeting today, live in room 103. And that was with the permission of the town. So.
Wow. How many people?
5.
I think 103 can hold 7
Maybe
people
6
now.
or 7, yeah.
5.
Yeah.
Just crack the window.
Yeah. With masks.
With masks. You have to
And
have
distancing.
masks. Yep.
Yeah. So.
The masks are huge. If everyone has a mask on, it really helps. So.
Yeah.
And I know the staff wears them.
And it's way better than Zoom.
It is way
even
better.
with a mask. So are we going live next month?
That's the plan. January 14th.
I do like that you've chosen a date in the middle of the month. It gives us a couple weeks post holidays to see, for the holiday travel, whatever stuff to stop being an issue, hopefully. This is hard to predict. So. But Sam, the staff's overall pretty comfortable so far.
Yeah, so far I asked them and they seem okay with this plan as is.
I'm sure you'll have problem solving as you go, but
yep.
You can always call.
Okay.
Anything else on the COVID reopening plan? Okay, programming funds.
Yeah, so the HEPA filters came out of MMDT, which originally $3,000 was meant for programming. So the $3,500 that Dave talked about earlier is actually more like $500. It's just the money hasn't been taken out of MMDT yet. So we need to replenish that.
How much?
Okay.
How much do we want? You said you wanted to, replenish it. Is that like you want to do that now, or?
So I spent $3,000 on the HEPA filters. So if we could replace the $3,000 I spent on that.
Do we need to, what was our, I'm looking to see if, I don't see the last BART report that we had. I don't remember what we were doing for trust funds. There we go. This year either.
So
If we want to do it all at the same time, or
so trust funds for this year were $12,000 based on the budget.
So we don't have the new Bartholomew. We're using the one from earlier last month, November.
right.
Okay. Because I'm a little confused. There's a person named Anna Rosa. Is that familiar to you, Sam?
No.
Anna Maria de Rosa. Doesn't ring a bell?
No.
She says, "Hello, David. I was asked to pass the library funds along to you. Should you need anything further, do not hesitate to reach out." Oh, she's the assistant treasurer.
Oh, yeah, she's new. That's probably why I
but
don't know her yet.
But so she was asked to send that, and that was November 24th. But I think she actually sent the one that we got the first part of the month. So she sent the same one again. All right. So we don't have the latest, but I'm working with a cell phone, so it's a really small thing anyway. Do we want to take a vote to move something, or do we want to wait, or what? Mark's studying. Okay.
I'm looking at the last BART report. You won $3,000, Sam?
Yes.
So I think we take the money out of the ending earnings.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's none of them that are right around 3,000. There is the Houghton Fund that is around 6,000, and then there's a Cobb Fund that's around 6,000 as well. Or there's a Hearn Fund that's around 9,000. So we could take 3,000 out of any combination of those. There's one that's at $2,700. The Houghton Fund has, the other Houghton Fund has 2,700 in it.
Yeah, you're working in you're working in the 300 series.
Yes.
Okay. Ending earnings. Well, what do you want to do?
So why don't we just pick one of those funds that had, like the Cobb Memorial Fund, and move 3,000 out of ending earnings into MMDT?
Cobb would be 310.
310.
Cobb Fund. Okay, move 3,000.
That's what you want, right, Sam?
Yes.
Is that good, or do we want to move more than that?
You want to have a little more as a cushion?
If you want. I won't say no.
Well, it has to get done. You know, it'll get done again sometime. You want to make it 4?
Yeah. That's fine by me.
Okay. Do we want to move you said 12,000, Sam, for materials?
Yes.
And do you care if it's children's materials or all adult?
Yeah, it's usually better if we get it from the general, whatever the general account is. So we're not limited by what we have to spend.
Oh, come on.
That's going to require a lot more math.
Oh. So it was 310 to move $3,000, or is it 4 now? 4?
Yeah, 4,000 out of 3. So let's do it as 2 different motions. So motion to move 4,000 from that into MMDT, and then we'll move 12,000. Motion to move the 12,000 into the materials while we're at it, and then we don't have to do that next month.
From where?
So move 4,000 from 310.
Yep.
Cobb Memorial into the MMDT for programming.
Right.
That's motion number 1.
Yep.
And then we'll come up with a where to move some of the money from the other funds.
Working all out of 310? I mean, working all out of 3s?
The other ones will be out of the 1s.
Out of the 1s. Okay. For a total of 12,000?
Yeah.
Ending earnings. 5, 4, and 3. Well, how about, I'm working with a really small page here.
So someone want to make the first motion to move the 4,000.
I'll move that we move $4,000 from fund number 310, which is titled Theodore Fletcher Cobb Memorial Fund, $4,000 to MMDT. And you said programming?
For programming, sure.
Yeah. Okay, MMDT to MMDT. All right, that was the motion.
I second it. Demetri can have it. All right. I second it.
So that money is basically to replenish the money that we already allocated that Sam spent on the HEPA filters. So
Yes.
Just to be clear.
Yep.
Okay. Is there any further discussion on that? Okay, hearing none. Katrina,
Yes.
Mira,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Demetra.
Yes.
Okay. So we're good on that one. Now, to pay for the material, so for Katrina's benefit, we spend money out of the trust funds every year to supplement the materials budget. And for this fiscal year, we said $12,000. The funds are divided into 3 categories. The first 2 categories we can only use for materials. We can't spend the principal. We can only spend the earnings, and we can only spend it on materials. So the funds in the 100 series can be spent on any materials. The funds in the 200 series can only spend on children's materials. So Sam said he wanted 12,000 out of the general materials. So I would suggest that we just grab from the 110, 111, and 112 funds. Between those funds, there's almost $15,000. I would suggest that we tell Sean to take $12,000 out of the ending earnings of those funds for our materials match for fiscal year 2021.
Okay, so to be clear, that would be 110, the John Hilton Star Fund, 111, David F. Rouse Memorial Fund, and 112, the Edward Potter Sanderson Fund.
Yes.
Okay,
So to take $12,000 from the ending, a total of $12,000 from the ending earnings of those three funds, of which there's currently 14.8 thousand roughly in those. So,
right.
so there'll still be 2,800 left when he's done.
So just leave it to his discretion how to take the 12 out.
Yeah, take it from those three funds. Take 12,000 from those three funds.
Yep. And deposit it to,
It's the, I don't know what it's deposited into per se. It goes to the trustees material budget for fiscal year 2021.
all right. Trustees material budget. All right, Fund 110, 111, and 112, $12,000 from those numbers, from those funds, to the trustees material budget. Yes, okay, I make a motion. And we move $12,000 from the following funds. From the ending earnings of the following funds. Number 110, John Hilton Star Fund. Number 111, David F. Rouse Memorial Fund. Number 112, Edward Potter Sanderson Fund. The amount of $12,000 to the trustees material budget. That's the motion.
Don't I'll jump up to second it.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Katrina,
Yes.
Mira,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Demetra.
Yes.
Okay, good. I think we're done with that then. That does the programming fund and our, so now we're on to the Christmas Eve schedule, Sam.
Okay, so Christmas Eve is on a Thursday. Normally we open at 1. Can we change our schedule to open at 10 a.m. And close at 2 p.m.? That's what we did last year. Normally we would have closed at 4 on an eve like that, a holiday eve.
Any discussion, comments? Don't all jump up at once. I'm fine with it. Do we have to make a motion to do that, or
Nope.
I don't think so.
just tell you can do it?
Yep.
Just make sure you publicize it properly and
Sure.
far enough in advance, and yep,
All
that
right.
sounds good.
Thanks.
Oh, so while we're on the Christmas Eve things, the trustees normally send out Christmas cards to all the staff, right?
Right.
So do we intend to do that again this year? And if so, can you send us addresses, Sam, and we'll divvy them up?
Sure.
How are we all gonna sign them? Which is
So-
what we usually do, but it doesn't sound like that's gonna happen.
So there's a couple ways we can do this. We can each we can take the staff and divide them up and each send to whatever, 3 or 4 of the staff or whatever it amounts to. Or we can try and pass the cards around and everyone sign it, and we'll send them, everyone signs a card to all the staff. In the age of COVID, it might be easier to just break the list up, but if we want to try and pass the cards around, we can do that. What do people think? Between Mira, Katrina, and myself, it's very easy because I go by their houses several times a day, at least twice a day.
Well, is there a law that says that we can't come into the library?
Can we set up the Cooper room
Yeah, sure.
one at a time? We can just do it outside, porch signing.
Somebody come up with something to make it easy, like we could just go there and do it. It's really nice when they get a card that's signed by everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so why don't, we'll set up an envelope in the Cooper room and then people can just go down there and sign it. I think everyone can break into the library except Katrina, right?
I have no key.
So,
I'm going to borrow yours to get in December 13th.
okay.
Did we ever find out who had a key?
Susan said she didn't have a key.
Doesn't have a key? Okay.
And apparently she left me something in the mailbox I didn't know I had. So I have to break in at some point.
Okay. So we'll set up an envelope in the mailbox. I'll send around a notice to the, or set up something in the Cooper room for people to sign, and then I'll send something around when we do that. Okay.
And I can, since I'm going to be there December 13th to hand out trees, we can, if it's easier, if you want me to take the envelope with the trees, let me know.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Okay. Any other business? Helen's going to be in charge when you're gone.
Yep. Don't tease her too much.
How long? How long?
I plan to come back on the 21st.
Oh, okay. Piece of cake.
I hope it goes well, Sam.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Okay. If nothing else, I'll entertain everyone's favorite motion.
I move we adjourn. No one wants.
Someone gonna-
I second it.
Okay. Katrina,
Yes.
Mira,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Demetra.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Our next meeting is January 7th.
All right. Sam, good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck,
Bye.
Sam.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Happy holidays.
Good night. Bye-bye.